We we had one this weekend, and then we play in OKC this coming weekend.
Mm. Do they pay for all that stuff, like
Yeah,
hotel room and all that for you?
yeah. For the coaches, they do. Yeah, yeah.
Obviously for
So
the
that's
players,
part of
though.
like the yeah, that's part of like the fee, I guess, for to be a part of the AU team. But you're paying for some good tournaments, hopefully.
I mean, you've
That
been to
first one
some
was
of
good.
these. We've been to them, these ones where you go recruit kids, and there's always good competition, especially if you're going like far to the city.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was like, we had two practices in, and it was just like, we were kind of just out there hooping, to be honest with you. And it was like just trying to make adjustments on the fly. Um, but got some good dudes. We were missing a couple guys. Ended up getting a nice little win to end it, but it was
That is
what?
so. That happened to me in the championship game at Queen City. I was down two starters, and we beat a team that was like that beat them earlier in the year two times, Moorcroft, and I was like, damn. 'Cause I wouldn't watch Moorcroft play, and I'm like thinking, man, how am I gonna what am I gonna kind of do throughout this game to like let them have a
Yeah.
chance, you know? And I just rolled with just going big, or not going big, but just getting the ball inside and trying to make the refs call fouls and stuff, and it worked out for us. I ain't gonna lie, when you win a game down
Good.
players, that's such a good feeling.
Oh, absolutely. Because it was a team effort, and
Yes.
they just like had to grind it out and kind of figure it out to win. Especially when you're missing like a playmaker or like,
Hmm.
maybe your best defensive presence. Like it's good to see kids rise the occasion and be like, all right, it's my turn to ball out a little bit.
Yeah. I had two freshmen have to step up and just one hit the biggest shot of the
Young
tournament
pups.
to get us rolling again, and I was like, "Let's go, fellas!" I was
Tray
coaching
ball or
my
what?
ass off. Yeah, Trey ball, dude. We went like 0 for 10 on Trey balls to start the second half against his zone. Just could not get a thing to fall on him. Trying to get him to go inside, and finally, board kick out hits a three, and I'm like, all right, the lid's lifted. Let's do this.
Yeah. That's my motto, dude. You just got to see one go in and
Uh
then
huh.
you're rolling. But like it was fun and I'm gonna like hopefully we're gonna be at full strength for this OKC one. So we can really see what we can do. But I'm excited, dude. It's just a cool little change of pace.
It's fun.
Like,
I mean, to be honest, you're in control. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of, it's like your.
right. And I just want to see them like really learn to I guess for lack of a better term, just really learn to play the game, and see them making those extra passes to guys where we're all standing up on the bench going through, like
Right.
because we know it's going in and our offense is rolling, or like we're creating a buttload of turnovers, just like getting out in transition, making layups and stuff. Like that's what I love seeing kids develop to do. Like just learn to play the game out of instinct and not necessarily running an offense or running,
Exactly.
a zone or whatever.
Exactly. We had to play like that to close that game where they pressed us and we skipped the ball up, and I was like, pull it out, pull it out. And he hits his cutter. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, no. And then he makes the layup, and I'm like, let's go.
All
You guys
righty,
did it.
yeah. Like you'll take it, bro. But that's funny you say that because we had this last game. We had a solid little lead. I think it was like a 12-point lead with like 7 minutes or 6 minutes to go, and they started putting the pressure on, and and again, we had two practices in, so like we hadn't worked on much of press break. We hadn't worked on a bunch of stuff. Like again, they were just out there hooping. And, you know, they kind of closed the lead a little bit and we're up by 6. And then we extend it back out and it's like 3 minutes to go and we're up 9. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I call a timeout because we took a couple quick shots and they got a bucket. And I was like, timeout, guys, like understand what's going on right now. Like we're playing into exactly what they want us to do. But it
For
like
real.
you learn that some kids aren't taught that or they don't think about those things. So you have to like remind them this is a time in the game where it's not about the shot we take. It's about
Uh-huh.
taking time off the clock because we got to win this game,
You ain't got a shot clock
but
in summer ball.
yeah, we were turning that thing over, but we pulled it out. Love to see it.
Bro, I almost got lit up in that game. I
Oh
was,
man.
but I was just trying to prove a point because they fouled out my tallest dude on the court with 3 minutes left, and he went. One of the parents live streamed it, and I found the video the other day, and I was watching. The dude went straight up, and they called him for a push, and I'm like, what? He went up with two hands. How it's verticality and all this stuff, and I'm like, I was
Yeah.
kind of, like asking him like what the one official was like, what did he do? Like, I want to know what he did, and he told me his answer, and I'm thinking, and I looked over to the other guy that I like knew. I cannot think of his name, but like we were BSing every game that he had. Like he was telling me good job, like he was cool with me, like all this stuff.
The ref
And
was?
I yeah, I've repped with him before. He's like a spearfish guy,
That's the best
but
part.
I look at him and I looked at him and I put my hands up and he's like, nope, no. He's like, I don't know. And I was like, that's right. You don't know what to say because you know he's wrong. And
Mm,
he shoots the free throw and I'm just yelling. I was like, I just want verticality. Like, that's all I want. You can't punish a big man. And he blew the whistle. I got so
hmm
scared. Oh, I got so scared. I was like, no,
Did he
warning,
give you a
white
warning?
bench. Yeah, warning,
Yeah,
white bench.
yeah.
And I came back. He came to stand next to me. He's like, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Just don't light me up. I was like, I'll be done. I
Right.
promise. And he
I
after the like
promise.
with about a minute left or 30 seconds left when it was like over, I was like, hey man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be like a pain right there. And I was like, I'm really glad you didn't like give me a technical and whatnot.
Yeah.
He goes, I know you. He's like, we've officiated all the time. I know I got to be on top of my game. And he's like, come on, the moment's too big in a championship game for me to give you a technical. Like that's petty. And I was like, man, I
Yeah.
appreciate you. Shot like that.
Yeah. And that takes, yeah, that's awareness by the ref right there. That's knowing
Absolutely.
like all I need to do right now is just give him a little warning and he'll know to stop because I'm sure you knew that that was a big moment too. Like,
Absolutely.
oh, if he's gonna warn you, like I can't,
I'm done.
because
I was
I
like,
can't
I'm
keep
done.
going and get teed up.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I knew it. And I think my biggest thing or the biggest thing too, is he was just like, he knows that I coach like coached college and was at BH too. So he understands like that I'm going
hmm
to accept the warning and just be like, all right, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm
Yeah.
done.
Absolutely.
Move on.
Absolutely. What I mean, we brought up the national championship game earlier. What were your initial thoughts of it?
Well, first off, might as well just welcome the people in the episode 8.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Kitchen Hook podcast, everyone, welcome back.
Welcome back. It's great to
It's
be back.
just us two tonight. Didn't have anyone. I remember I hit you up. I was like, "Who do we want as a guest?" And I was like, "Man, I don't even really want to reach out
hmm
to." I was kind of feeling not like I didn't want to reach out to anyone, but the Natty, I thought, I picked San Diego State, but I kind of assumed UConn would do this. Just like honestly, I wanted
I think a
S.
lot of people did.
Yeah, but at the same time, I felt like they matched up against UConn better than any team that played them all tournament. Honestly, like with their size and
Hmm.
athleticism and whatnot. I mean, they had transfers on the court all over the place. One from Cal, one from
Yeah.
TCU. So, and they were
Yeah,
I
they
saw a thing. They're like 23 years old on average. So I was like, age will help. a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Yeah, they're experienced. I know that, they got that Matt Bradley dude. He had a tough game, but he's
Mhm.
almost a 2,500 point scorer, for his career in college basketball. It was tough to see him not play
But he,
um,
no, he
well on the
won't. That
offensive
same
end.
with that Micah Parrish dude off the bench. That lefty, they had
Hmm.
other lefty. Him and Bradley were kind of my offensive keys, and to have them go for 8 points
Yeah,
combined kind of sucked. But I
yeah,
mean, credit to UConn, dude. They're huge, and they
yeah,
locked
man. I
up.
was, oh, seriously, like people were talking about San Diego State's defense. They didn't talk enough about UConn's defense, but maybe
Oh,
they did. I don't know. But like, yeah, they do strap up. But the thing about UConn was, like, I was talking to somebody and it's like they had a whole nother starting five coming in, it seems like, like Klingon solid off the bench as a freshman. Looked like a 7 footer. I don't know if he is 7 foot.
he is.
That
He's
Calcaterra,
yeah. They're good. No, that's
but
a
they're deep.
good team. That's a really good team.
So, did you see the comment that Danny Hurley made that I think it was on Twitter? I saw it. He said, someone asked him how, UConn's so good or something like that. And he said, well, we have three NBA players and we put the right pieces around them.
Absolutely.
Um, who do you think those three NBA players are? Who do you think he was talking about?
Jordan Hawkins dude for sure.
Okay, that's one of
Oh,
mine.
what's that? What was 44's name? Damn it,
Andre Jackson.
Andre Jackson. And then I
That
personally,
was one as well.
and then Sonogo. But
You
at the
think it's
same time,
Sonogo?
that Tristan Newton kid's really good too.
Exactly.
That kid's really good.
Bingo. That's number three. He was nice. Um, no, he was like he had a crazy NBA game, if you ask me. Just a game
Hmm.
that really translates. He was able to create his own shot. He's got good size. I don't know how big he is, but like he looked like he had pretty good size. Um, but he was one I was like, oh my goodness, that dude is nice.
Yes. Well, I
But
think
I could see it being Sonogo as well.
he's just big. Like that's a big. And I said this last night watching the game. I was like, the guy has great touch around the rim for how big he is,
And he's
and
crafty around
he
the
can
rim.
shoot a little bit. But I was seeing a
Hmm.
lot of breakdowns on Twitter today. They do a lot of like actions where they screen Sonogo at the free throw line to get him just an easy dump off at the rim.
Hmm.
So like their play calls and their actions to get guys open are like they executed to a T last night.
Yeah. Now that was one thing that, you brought it up before me that like their movement and pace, that the way they run their offense. And I don't know if it's a set every time, like if they
Hmm.
call like an end, like how there are some coaches that will be like, they call an entry. It's not necessarily a play, but it's an entry into the offense.
Yep.
Kind of every time down the floor. And it seems like I said, I don't necessarily know if Danny Hurley's calling sets every time, but it's some type of entry where there's a ton of misdirection, a ton of screening, and like, dude, that would be a nightmare to guard and to scout, bro. Like, think
They're
about
running
scouting that team.
Oh, absolutely. They're running Jordan Hawkins on off double down screens all game,
Hmm.
staggers all game. Um,
Hmm.
and but I don't like you were saying earlier, their defense did not get credited enough, man. They held
Yeah,
SDSU to 3 4+ minute scoring droughts in that game.
yeah, I saw
That's
that.
impressive.
Yeah, I
That's
saw that
impressive.
stat. Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
what
that's
was it?
strapping up.
Um, I was hoping though, like, so here that when SDSU went on a 17-7 run to cut it to five, I was like, man, they might have a chance. And then that Hawkins dude came down and hit the dagger. When he hit that three, I was like,
Dude,
it's not enough. They don't have enough time.
You want to know who his game reminds me of a little bit?
Oh,
Ray Allen,
yeah.
because like the way he comes off and like squares as he's catching the ball and and how much lift he gets on his jumper.
Hmm.
He's obviously he looks a little taller than Ray Allen. I don't know how tall Ray Allen was, 6'3", 6'4", maybe, but he looks a little longer and lankier than Ray Allen, but his game reminds me a lot.
So I saw this on Twitter today. So this is their fifth title in the last 25 years, since 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Does this make them a blue blood? I'm sure you saw this
I think
too,
it's
but
I think it's got it, man. Like, don't you?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, for one, they have the color blue in their colors,
Yeah.
and two, like if you're gonna consider at least Kentucky recently a blue blood, they haven't won in a long time.
One title in the
It's
last
like,
25 years.
yeah, exactly. So it's like I would think you have to at this point.
Yeah, I saw someone, they said it was Nick Wright. He said today, he was like, I'm taking Indiana out and putting UConn in. And granted, Indiana's red, but to me, a blue blood runs college basketball. Like they win titles in college
Yeah,
basketball. Doesn't matter their color.
yeah,
But Indiana has no championships since the '80s, like Bob Knight era, and ever since then they've been
yeah.
pretty average. Did you know? I saw this the other day, and I fact checked it because I was looking all over for this to make sure it's true. Did you know Indiana has never won a conference tournament championship?
Are you serious?
Dead
Even with
serious,
Bobby Knight?
even with Bobby Knight. But that
Hold
can't be right.
on.
But the thing is,
Hold
did the
on.
Big Ten have a tournament when that was going down?
That's a good point. Did they do that back in the day? I don't really know.
I don't know because I looked on Wikipedia. It doesn't say anything about them winning a conference tournament championship. Because it's weird because they went undefeated, right?
I don't know if they did. I honestly, I'm not sure about their history. Like I'm guessing with, the way people talk about Bobby Knight, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Hold on here, dude. I gotta fact check this.
So in they've won 20. It says they've won 22 Big Ten conference or Big Ten championships, but that's regular season. Conference regular
Yeah.
season champions.
Okay, that
Um,
makes me feel a little better about it. But yeah, that's crazy. They've never won the
tournament.
tournament, the conference tournament.
Let's go with that. So when Big Ten tournament. Oh, snap. Okay, so that does make sense. The Big Ten tournament has been played each year since 1998.
Mm,
So that makes sense why
there
they
you
haven't
go.
won one. But still, that's nuts. Like to think, damn, that they played in one championship game, and that was in 2001. They lost to Iowa. Wow. Reggie Evans was the most outstanding player.
Reggie Evans.
Played at Iowa. I did not know
Wow.
that. I did not know that.
Yeah, man, it was honestly a good game though, even though the score didn't look like it was, the final score didn't look
No.
close. Yeah, I thought it was fairly competitive.
To the casual
Um,
fan, to the casual fan, that's not an appealing game. Like realistically, I saw a
yeah.
lot of people complaining about it. Like I retweeted one guy today, and quoted it, and I'm like, apparently, Buddy doesn't like physicality and a little bit of defense. I mean, and
Yeah.
he said, what are these players? How are these players going to contribute at the next level? And it's like, well, they have to contribute to their team to get to that point. And I'm pretty sure that's all they're focused on at that point. Like, you know what I mean? Just because the Final Four had a bunch of no names in it this year doesn't mean like it's bad basketball.
Well, if you're gonna call, I mean, we were just talking about UConn being a blue blood now,
Uh-huh.
so they ain't a no name. You know what I mean?
No,
Like, but San Diego State, like, I will say this: that would have been cool to see the Mountain West get a national
absolutely.
championship. That would have been awesome.
Especially since they're trying to leave. That would have been. That's why I was going for San Diego State was for the Mountain West. But I saw
Get
another
some of that
person say. I
bread.
want to ask you this. If you agree or disagree. This guy said Will Compton said that college basketball is overrated, even though like everyone likes a 64 team bracket to fill out and all the excitement and stuff. But he's like, you reward teams that have failed all year, like FAU, and I was like, what? They're 31-3 and won their conference.
Failed.
Yeah, they won their
Yeah,
regular season in their conference tournament. Like they were a good team. People just because they're a ninth, that team was ranked this year. Like people, you know what I mean? Like I don't understand. That's like the casual fan looking at things like, oh, it's Florida Atlantic. We don't know who they are. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
yeah. So what's the question? You said you had a
Do you
question
agree
for
with
me.
that? Like, do you agree with that? That
No, I think um obviously like we brought up on the podcast, I can't remember, but that the quality obviously of the college game isn't what the NBA or what pro is, like
hmm
that's a very obvious thing to say. But these teams are playing at the highest level at that college level. And it's like if you watch, like we were just talking about earlier with UConn, the actions they're running and the type of defense they're playing and what that takes to be that good on that side of the ball and to run their stuff like they were running it, with the pace they were running and all those things we talked about earlier, that is playing at a high, very, very
hmm
high level.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes, the vast majority of them are not going to be pro basketball players, but they will still bust you any day of the week. I
Yeah.
promise you that. I will bust you any day of the week. And you know that, Bushel Beans.
So,
So,
all right, now we
like,
don't have to make come at me now.
I got to at some point. I
Um,
got to.
bro, I think, like you said earlier, UConn's not a nobody. They started for the year 14-0, and didn't that whole 14 game stretch didn't have a game within single digits. Beat Bama by
Yeah.
15, beat Iowa State by 20, which are two tournament teams. But their little 3-7 stretch is what kind of made them drop out of like national reckon. Like people were just like, "Oh, it's UConn, blah blah blah." But then they finished
Yeah.
11-1 with the only loss coming in the Big East tournament. If they didn't have that stretch, like they honestly should have dominated. To me, they should have dominated a little bit more than they did. But because that
Hmm.
team was good top to bottom, like you said, that they brought in, it felt like a 7'2", 265 pound freshman. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh, that's how big Klingon is? He's
Yeah,
7'2".
I looked that up yesterday, and I was like, he's got to be 6'11", 7 foot. And then I saw how much
Oh
he
my
weighed.
goodness.
Bro, you don't see 7 footers weigh 265 these days.
No,
That's an NBA
no, you do
basketball
not.
player right there.
That is. And obviously, people are going to look at that. Oh, he had 3 points, 1 assist, or 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 4 points. He's a freshman. Like, he'll get
Yeah, well,
better.
and not only that, dude, but when he was in the game, San Diego State could not score around the rim.
I know, bro. That was the big thing I noticed. And, like, he he is just adds a different element to their team,
Yes.
when he comes on the floor because it is so you feel like you can play so aggressive when you got a dude like that protecting the rim.
hmm
Um, and then but then like the other part we were talking about is Adama Sanogo, like he does an insane job of just the basic like seal up, boom, over the top pass, layup.
Yes.
Like it was
He's
awesome to watch.
that dude's a tank. That guy is a
He
tank.
is.
And
And if any hold on, any young bigs that want to learn how to be good just really basically without being like super skilled and crazy athletic is watch him run the floor and watch how he
yes,
seals and watch how he just does those little things to gain position. Watch that, dude. It's incredible.
and I'm gonna jump off that one. I think the biggest thing with like young bigs coming up is they like catch the ball and it's like, oh, I gotta go. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I gotta make my move.
Mm-hmm.
Catch that thing and look. You can be slow with it. Play at your own pace down low because like
Mm-hmm.
you're really in control down there more than you are on the perimeter. Like if you can just slow down and
Absolutely.
slowly back your guy down with like calmly, like you're gonna get to your spot every single time and get to your moves
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. I think that's another big thing that I was trying to teach my kids here in Sundance is like, yo, when you get the ball in the post, chin and check for a second because you don't know if your
Mm-hmm.
teammate has a wide open cut on the backside that he sees and you don't because you're going already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And just teaching kids to like the Sonogo, he scores with no dribbles a lot of times. Like
No.
it's seal up the lane or seal, you know, up the lane line and have that over the top pass that leads him right to the rim for a layup or and it's just it reminds me of like Zach Randolph,
Yeah.
he
Yeah, that's a
how
good
he would
comparison.
just body somebody, boom, catch, finish.
And like he doesn't wait for the seal. He goes and seals the person like coming off the screen.
Mm,
He finds who he needs to seal, and that way he has at least 6 feet to work with already. Like I can give this up and get the pass and still get a layup. You know that
yep, 100%.
they
He put on
dominated
a
that
he
game.
put on a clinic. He put on a clinic like that all tournament long too.
They averaged 20 and 10. I mean, it was 9.8
Hmm.
rebounds, but I'm gonna give you that point two every day of the week. That's
Yeah,
20 and 10 to me.
we'll give it to you.
Um,
We'll give it to you.
Fourth largest margin of victory ever at 20 points per game. That's nuts. That's nuts. You're beating teams by. Here's a crazy stat. So I just
That's
saw this.
domination. That's domination.
Number two is that 2016 Villanova team that hit the buzzer beater on Carolina. Um, they won by an average of 20.7 points per game, but that was like a 2 point game, a 3 point game. It ended up being, but they
Hmm.
won by 20.7.
Yeah.
Like they in the first 5 games, they were smacking teams.
Hmm. That
That's got
was
to be
what
so
year did you say that was?
demoralizing.
2018?
2016, 2016,
Oh, 2016.
the first
Oh,
championship.
because I remember we were watching that upstairs in your room, were we? And he hit that
Yeah, that
shot.
was an emotional roller coaster, man. I was geeked and then I
Oh
was
my
broken.
goodness.
I was in shambles.
Yeah.
That's
Because
called.
Paige hit that crazy like double clutch shot put three and then just heartbreak on the other end for the old
That
Tar
was one of
Heels.
those too that as a basketball player, you watch Chris Jenkins shoot and you're like, shit, that's going
Yep,
in.
that's
Like
going
that
in.
left his hand and you're like, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, for real. Well, like for even when he it left his hand when we were watching it, I was like, "Oh man, that looks really good." And it just went splash, back rim, right down, straight down.
I just put my head, I just leaned over my bed and put my head in my pillow and just like laid there and did not want anyone
Yeah,
to come into the room because I knew everyone from out or from King One was gonna came in like Bush, oh yeah, Bush. The only Carolina fan
yeah.
in that property, and that happens.
I just sprinted. I think I just sprinted down the stairs, if I
Yeah,
remember right.
there were so many people in the house, and we were just like, man, screw this, let's go upstairs. So many people in the house.
Yeah, too many.
Absolutely.
Um,
But
so
real
let's
quick,
let's
one
yeah,
one
go
one
ahead, go
quick thing.
ahead.
I just kind of knew, like, I was just gonna say this too, because having this be a 4-5 matchup in the championship game, though, you had to have known people were going to complain from the start. No matter how the game would have been, like people were going to be like, "Oh, this Final Four has no," you know what I mean? Like, I feel like people
It
had that
doesn't have
coming
any of the
in.
big dogs.
Yeah, but that FAU San Diego State game was amazing,
Oh yeah,
in my
absolutely.
opinion. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was
absolutely. Well, and it was just kind of what San Diego State did again to FAU and completed the job what they almost did to UConn, like
yeah,
because FAU had a big lead, didn't they?
14 points with 12 minutes
Yeah,
left
exactly.
or something like that. FAU, they're good, man.
Hmm.
They're going to be back in the tournament next year, I bet, as a higher seed. That team
You
was
think so?
solid. Yeah, their guards were young.
Yeah, but
That transfer portal
portal,
too, but
the
I mean,
almighty
yeah,
portal.
go to a bigger school. But that one kid sounded like he was like, "Man, we're gonna put in the work and we'll be back next year." So it's like maybe they've,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I hope so. I'd be cool to see them come back and prove it and make another little
it
run.
would be it would be a nice change of pace to just see everybody return and give it another go.
Uh-huh. But moving on, because I'll just get it because obviously that wasn't the only big drama of the weekend with college basketball. Because on the women's side, it was Iowa and LSU. Um,
Yeah,
did you watch that? Did you watch it? Did you watch it at all?
I didn't get to see it at all. I was driving back from the tournament this weekend.
Yeah, I was flipping back and forth between NASCAR and that game, but
Of course,
yeah,
NASCAR. Oh
it's Sunday, man.
God.
It's Sunday. That's like church.
What NASCAR race was it?
It was at Richmond, Virginia. We're going to a race this in September on my birthday weekend, and I'm geeked for that.
Yeah, which
Um,
one?
Bristol, Tennessee, short track.
That's
But
what's
I was
up,
gonna
dude.
say, obviously, you saw all this stuff on Twitter.
Yeah,
I want to get your take. Like, was the end of game celebration overboard?
I mean, to me, the part of following her around and like making sure you get in her sight, like I was thinking about a little bit. If it was me and I was doing the ring or you can't see me thing, and they just like walked past me and didn't acknowledge it the first time, I'm not gonna follow them over
Yeah,
and like make sure I get in their sight again. But at the same time, um, Caitlin Clark, she gives that smoke, so she better be ready to receive it. So, and
absolutely.
she did. If you notice what she said today on Twitter or whatever, wherever she said it, she was like, "Hey, she's a competitor. I'm a competitor. She got the better of me. I respect her as a player, and I feel like she shouldn't get the backlash she's getting for
Yeah,
doing what she did." So Caitlin Clark seems like she knows what it is.
yeah. No, I agree.
What do you
I
think? Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm all for like pardon the language, but I'm all for a little talking shit a little bit. Like that's basketball,
Hmm.
that's sports, that's competition. We do it in practice. You know what I mean? Like happens everywhere.
Absolutely.
And the first one at the free throw line, when she did it to her at the free throw line, I was like, man, that's all right. Like, okay, you can't argue it because, like you said,
Yeah.
she did it, even though it was like 2 games ago, and the fact that disrespected LSU was still a little weird to me and whatnot. But like, I'll touch on that after this
Hmm.
point. But like the part, like you said, following her around for 10 seconds, dude, like to make it a
Yeah.
scene, like it almost seemed like she was just trying to draw attention to it. Like, come on. And I know
Yeah.
people are like, "Well, if Caitlin Clark can do it, she can do it." But I feel like there's two. It's a different. The first one is what people want to talk about. But they want to ignore the second part. You know what I mean? The excessive.
What do
And a
you
lot
mean?
of
Oh yeah, I
like
got you.
the first one compared to the second one, like you didn't like you just like you said the second time you didn't need to go make do of all that. Like, come on, that's a
Yeah.
little like Dave Portnoy said it to the best. Show me one time in a in a championship setting, male or female, where any athlete has done that and like made a point to go get in someone's face.
Yeah, well, I mean, like there have certainly been other moments of disrespect, like
Yes,
The Pistons walking off on the Bulls or whatever,
yeah. I mean,
before the
hey,
game was over.
people still call that classless to this day. You know what I mean?
Indeed, indeed. But like I think it is what it is.
Yeah,
She made her move, and she made it a little bit and was like, I'm gonna make sure she sees this. And you know good thing like Caitlyn didn't get worked up about it and
she
all
handled
that, because I
she
think that
handled it
would,
perfectly.
yeah, and I think that would make it worse. But I mean, like, even after the fact of her not getting butthurt about it, like she just shook it off, so um I feel like that's what happens. Like, people do those types of things in those high emotion moments, and they just won a national championship. And LSU obviously felt some type of way towards Caitlin Clark. It seems like from the comments of their point guard, and then obviously what happened at the end. But that's one thing I wanted to ask you about was, what did you see my Instagram story that I put up about, like, what their point guard said about how it was disrespectful, how Caitlin Clark was guarding South Carolina's point guard?
Yeah, she does scout. She gets scouting reports from Kim Mulkey that probably says, "Hey, let this girl shoot." Like, it's a scouting purpose. The girl shot 21% from three. Like, I'm gonna live with her shooting and if she makes a couple, like you as all coaches, congratulations. Let's move on. You know what I mean? It's her night, and she went 3 for 6. But it's like
Exactly.
I don't understand like where and it was even after the game she even says like I don't think Iowa can guard me like that. I find that disrespectful. I'm going to carry it into the game, and it's like Caitlin Clark said it perfectly. We're not going to guard LSU like we guarded South Carolina because they're full of shooters.
Exactly.
Obviously, they've showed that they're full of
Exactly.
shooters. So like
Hmm.
I don't know. It was just weird. I felt like they were just looking for disrespect where there was no disrespect.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and it obviously worked. It gave them a chip on their shoulder,
yeah,
and it seems like LSU has played that way all year long,
yeah.
and they have that chip on their shoulder, and obviously that's what made them good. And um, you got to give credit to them, like they obviously came in with the game plan that was right, against Iowa, and handled their business.
A funny thing I saw on Twitter was some football player was like, "It's so weird to me how Caitlin Clark lived in their heads even after the buzzer had sounded all the way into their post game comments and stuff." It was like, man, just y'all beat her, like you know what I mean. I get it.
Like, let it.
I mean, everyone's got a little pettiness in them when it comes to sports and whatnot and stuff, but it
Right.
was just like, man, let it go, like let it go.
Like, you got the dub. You got the dub big time.
Hmm.
It's time to just,
Uh-huh.
celebrate your dub. Celebrate your dub,
And
which I'm sure they did.
yeah, I will say too, like I dislike how it was brought, like how instantly race got brought into it, like when it had really to me nothing to do with that. When like you see it at all levels, both white and black talk smack to each other.
Talking their stuff. Absolutely.
Competition. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like that part just it's that part is the part that like rubs me the wrong way, and it's like, come on, really, like we really have to go down that road. You know what I mean? Like that's the part I don't like.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It seems that that's the direction, that's the turn it takes when it is people that are of different colors, whether it's white or black, whatever it is. So, um, but I feel like people that understand that environment and
Uh-huh.
understand the competition that was behind it know that it had nothing to do with that. And Angel Reese just was hyped up. She let her hear it in the moment, and they're moving on. Like,
Absolutely.
um, to me, it's certainly not that deep in the sense of, like we said, dude, like in practice, you're talking smack to your teammates. In games, you're talking a little smack to the other team. Like that is just the competition environment. And I think the people that understand that,
Yeah.
they know that.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I agree with that. Um, do you have anything else
Yes,
on that?
sir.
On that? Because I don't.
The whole
Yeah. I mean,
Caitlin Clark and just
yeah,
women's tournament.
yeah.
No, that's good on that. I mean, I didn't watch the game or anything,
No, I
so
can't really
I
say
can't
much.
talk about it too much.
No. Um, but locally, other news in the D2 era, with Joel Scott hitting the transfer portal, um,
Hmm.
how does that what does that do to shake things up?
Well, obviously that's going to be missing a big piece for him, and um, obviously with it being so close to us and kind of to our hearts with Coach Thompson and all that type of stuff, and just knowing those guys as well. Um, it's got to be tough for them to see him go, but you hope, and I'm sure knowing Joel a little bit, that it is a well-advised decision and it's something
Absolutely.
that, that hopefully is what's best for his career. So, um, I imagine that was tough to see him go and a tough conversation to have, but Coach Thompson's he's gonna figure it out. He's shown it year in, year out that he's gonna put a team together and put a plan together with that team that is going to put them in position to win, night in, night out.
Yeah, they're in
So
good. They're in great hands. Great hands.
they are indeed.
Um, no,
They
I
are
like you said
indeed.
on the decision part. Like all three of his brothers went and played D1. Like Josh Scott is one of the
Hmm.
best Pac-12. Did he play in the Pac-12, or was it bit? Were they in the Big 12?
What was Colorado at that point?
I think they were Big 12 because they were playing Kansas and stuff still. But like
Yeah,
he
you're right. I think you're right.
he's one of the better bigs that have played in that conference. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and his
And
brothers have
true, just
good,
low
yes.
post bucket.
So he's got good people in his ear telling him like, hey, this is what to expect. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so that was definitely a well thought through decision.
Hmm. And like obviously it would have been great to see that group go at another run for a national title. But I'm all about kids making decisions that are well advised, and they sought out some counsel for it. And if they feel like it's the best decision for them, I can't fault the kid on that.
No.
It's their life, it's their decisions that they're making, and that's what we do as coaches is hopefully help them get to the point where they are making decisions for themselves and doing it the right way. So I have confidence that that's exactly what was done with Joel for sure.
hmm No, and yeah, like you said, I'm excited to see how it plays out next year too.
Hmm.
Because obviously Ragsdale is going to be the guy for them, the scoring guy, like he was at Western. So
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see kind of how it was originally built around Joel. How are they going to build around Matthew in a sense? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm actually excited to see, and they're returning good guys. Like Riker's going to be a good returner for them and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
it's one of them things
Yes,
where I'm
indeed.
actually excited to see them do their thing.
Well, and we can bring up just, I think we might have talked about it last time, but that's a couple bigger names or all conference type guys in the RMAC that have hit the portal. A cool
Mm-hmm.
copy in one of them, and then Isaiah Thompson being a second team all RMAC guy.
Blaze
I'm
three.
sure he's gonna find another home. Exactly, so the RMAC is going to have different stars, if you will. But I think those teams that were good at last year are going to be good again for the most part. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, you brought up the guy from West Virginia Wesleyan that Fort Lewis got just brought in, and I think those teams are going to be able to get players to replace those holes that some of these guys, leave.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. And it's just the day and age of the transfer portal too. Like, what I mean?
Yeah,
Everyone, it's a popular thing. Um, you have a couple good years somewhere, you think you can get a better opportunity somewhere else, or it's just become
yeah,
the new it's the new name of the game. It's just free agency season right now.
yeah. And I will say this: I wouldn't be surprised if some of those guys that left RMAC schools stay in the RMAC, but they just end up getting, landing somewhere else. So we'll be able to watch a couple of them, I'm sure. But, I imagine there'll be a few that venture off and do something else, maybe D1 or D2 action. But
Yeah. I was
but
kind of interested to see where Blaze goes, because I don't know if he
mhm.
goes inside the RMAC, honestly.
I
Um,
don't think he will either. I don't think he will. Because I feel like he's already at Mesa. That's
yeah,
an RMAC power at this point, So if he's gonna go somewhere, it's my guess would be Division One. He's gonna
yeah,
try and
like
sniff some Division One.
Big Sky or something like that, for sure.
Yeah, and I
Um,
like to me like he fits a Division One guard.
yeah,
If you ask me,
he's
he's
got a
got good
big
size.
body,
He's got a great handle. Yeah,
can attack the rim. If you can finish at the rim, you're good, and he's got big enough size to him to be able to attack and finish at the rim.
yeah. But he
Um,
can distribute as well. Like he's not just a scoring threat. He seemed to be able to make reads and create for his teammates a little bit too. Because he was kind of their lead guard, I feel like. He was their
no,
guy
for
that got
sure,
them into their stuff and made stuff
for sure.
happen.
They play through. It's him and Baskins, really, in my opinion. If those two play well,
Yeah.
then they're winning games. Um,
Hmm.
that's just just how they've rolled in the past too. Like Baskins, that under, so like kind of big. You're thinking, nah, he can't be that good, right? But he'll hit you with that athleticism, and he's got that. He's got
And he's mobile.
sneaky strength for how like long he is.
Hmm. And he's getting into his older years. Like this is his third or
Fourth,
fourth season.
I think
He's
fourth.
going into his fourth season.
Yeah,
Got you. Yeah, so he's a savvy vet now.
they're.
Um,
It'll be interesting to see how everything plays out. I'm definitely following where people commit and whatnot to see how the
and
teams build out to be.
I imagine we'll see fairly soon with some of these guys. I imagine a lot of them don't want to wait too long to make their decision.
No,
Like Ragsdale was saying, when he was going through his transfer stuff, he wanted to be committed somewhere before summer.
yeah, you got to be thorough
Or
with that
some
process too.
did he say he wanted to be gone before summer? Like he
He,
wanted to be on a different campus?
I think he wanted to have like close options, a decision by like summer, middle of the summer type deal. Um,
No,
Who?
he said he wanted to have a decision made before summer, I think.
Yeah, you could be right. I really can't
Because
remember.
if he's waiting until midsummer, that's a long time to wait, you know?
At least by 1st of June, you should have a home.
Yeah,
Outside of that,
yeah, absolutely.
after that, you're starting to get a little worried. Honestly, like, oh man.
Yeah. Might be slipping through the cracks at that point.
Yep, absolutely. I was bummed. College basketball's over. Now it's all NBA stuff. Which
Yeah, dude.
have you been following that?
I mean, I know who's in the running. First of all, who do you think's making it out of the play-in? Who's making it into the play-in games, and then who's making it out of the play-in games?
Um, well, if that God, dude, Golden State, man, I swear they're just they need to win tonight. But I think for the West, since I'm looking at it right, well, the Bulls and the Raptors are already in the play-in game. So they out of the East, they just have to decide the 6th through 8th seed. But I think Miami and um, if it were to end today, where Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, and Chicago are in the play-in, I think it'll be Miami and Chicago coming out of the playing games. I don't know. I kind of like Chicago.
Toronto. Who is the other one? Toronto and who else?
Atlanta. I just don't trust. I don't trust Trey Young
Uh,
in Atlanta, man. I don't. For the West though, it depends because it's so close. Like four through 4 through 10 at one point was separated by like 2 games. Now it's 6 games, but I don't think Dallas makes the playoffs, and that's big
it's
because
looking like they're not going to.
if Oklahoma City beats Golden State tonight, I don't think they get in. I think that eliminates Dallas from the playoffs.
So
But
the
I think the
so
Lakers will get
Oklahoma
in.
City, yeah, absolutely. If they play the Pelicans, they're getting in.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Um, I dude, I don't know. The West is
Well,
so iffy.
maybe not, dude.
Who do they?
Actually, they have LeBron James. They're
Oh yeah,
getting
and
in.
see, they're up by 10 with a minute 30 left over Utah, so they're going to be 41 and 38. And here's the part that's interesting, Hilgs, because they win tonight. Golden State keeps up this being down 10 and losing. Then LA gets into the playoffs, and Golden State falls into the playing game. And
Oh, jeez.
it's a battle for the 6th seed because everyone wants to play the Kings because they're a 3 seed, and that's the team like no experience. They
Yeah,
don't,
that's true.
you know what I mean. They don't expect a whole lot from them, even though they're
Come
48
on,
and
Golden
31.
State.
I know, man. They are
So let
so.
me so let me ask you this though about Golden State because we've kind of had this conversation before. If Golden State goes into the playoffs semi close, not semi close, like very, very close to full strength, do you think they have a shot?
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins is back, so I think they have a shot. Like
Yeah.
I was in this argument with Max the other day, and he's like, I just don't understand how you think a team 3 games over 500 and like 9 and 30 on the road is good. And I'm like, I picked this hill to die on, and I'm gonna stand on it because, dude, they you when you have
I'm
Stephen
with you though,
Curry,
dude.
when you have Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson on the same team, like I'm
Steven.
not I'm not gonna count them out until it's all said and done. But here's the thing: if they get
You call him by his given name, Wardell.
Wardell, that's only on. He's not being Wardell, or what's he got at halftime? He got 24
Is he
at halftime.
Wardelling right now?
He's on a roll,
Oh,
Wardell.
it's halftime, dude.
It's
They'll be
79 to
fine.
it's 79 to 69 at halftime. Lord.
That is a high scoring game.
But he's got 24, and no one else has over 8. Yeah, it's Wardell's in full action tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
It it is Wardell time.
You're going to be seeing a Wardell tweet if he wins, or Wardell
I was
story.
gonna say you're gonna put it on your Instagram story. Wardell making
That
an
is
appearance.
my go-to now when he goes off. Oh, Wardell just played. That's his alter
I
ego.
always know, like scrolling through and I'm seeing a lot of Steph Curry highlights, like, oh, Steph Curry went off for 45 or whatever. I know Bush is putting something up about Wardell on his Instagram story.
My
I
favorite was
absolutely am positive about it.
my favorite was last year throughout the playoffs when I just kept saying Wardell, Stephen Curry, the second.
The second. Oh my goodness, that is too funny. All
he
right, on that note, go ahead
he's my
before we
no he's
wrap
just
this up.
he my favorite player. Him and KD are my favorite players in the league to watch. KD's the best player in the league, but Steven is my favorite to watch. Like, go
Yeah,
nuts.
there's no one that's able to light it up like Steph Curry, and I mean like I'm not saying just score. Like obviously there's great scorers all over the league, but like the way he does it, dude, is just stupid. It is just absolutely stupid. And I can't understand it.
It's so unfair.
But it
What do
is
you do?
beautiful to watch.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I have League Pass, so right when we get done with this, it's up to the TV to tune in.
There you go, dude. Go watch it,
Um,
bro.
absolutely. But back on Spotify, God bless America. That took me,
Yes.
God, man.
MP3,
So
not MP4.
yes, everyone, we're on Spotify. For all the people that were hitting me up, like, let's go with Spotify. I'm like, if you listen to the podcast, we're on Apple and iHeartRadio. So if Spotify's not working, you can find us elsewhere and YouTube.
Hmm.
So tune in. That's all I got.
Yes, indeed. Kitchen Hook Podcast. Tune in. See
Peace.
y'all later.